historia sobre la inmigración y lo que están pasando nuestros paisanos mexicanos, pues a raíz del triunfo del presidente Donald Trump. Y hoy estamos justo en la frontera, volamos a Tucson y llegamos hasta este rancho en donde está la American Border Patrol, que es una organización no gubernamental, no es de la autoridad, de un hombre pues que está en contra de la globalización. Él sí dice no a los muros, tampoco al paso de la frontera de manera indiscriminada, dice él. Y estamos justo aquí y vamos a conversar con él, pero bueno, él detecta, le llaman el inmigrantes, indocumentados. Mr. Glenn Spencer, thank you very much for receiving us here. Thank you. when I just came, he said, "Your, how was it?
What?
Your past procedure, or how was it? Your,
I could.
everybody knows who you are.
Right.
So,
that's right.
you said everybody knows who am I, and
Yeah, everybody knows who you are. You're saying everybody knows who I am.
Yeah.
But you know, I said your reputation precedes you.
And I said, and your reputation.
And your reputation precedes you.
Exactly.
I remember going into the government when my technology was on television, and I was called to Washington, D.C. To meet with a man who determines what technology is going to be used on the border. His name is Mark Borkowski, very big man, and I was about to be introduced to him. Now he handles billions of dollars, and he said, "Oh no, wait a minute. You don't have to introduce him. Anybody who knows anything about the border knows who Glenn Spencer is." Well, I felt pretty good, but then I told him my idea, and he didn't like it.
You didn't like it?
Well, apparently.
What was your idea?
Well, you know, I started out 15 years ago out here, and I can show you. I was on television 15 years ago. As a matter of fact, 14 years ago. As a matter of fact, 2 weeks ago, the TV station came down from Tucson, right? And there was a woman here, and I didn't recognize her, but she stopped me and she said, "Glenn, I interviewed you 14 years ago at your home in Sierra Vista." And she said, "You're saying the same thing you were saying then." And I said, yeah. I'm going to develop technology to show how well we're doing on the border. That's what I said, and I'm going to do it. And I did it. I've been working on it for 15 years. So that's what my time has been taken. Of saying
The last 15 years. What did you do before?
What did I do before? I was in prison. No, I wasn't. No, the last big job I have, I ran a seismic oil exploration company up in Montana. There are pictures of it over there. And you know, most of my employees were American Indians, Assiniboines, Sioux, Blackfeet. I had a lot of friends in Indian country. I was up there for years. And that's what gave me the idea. You know, we used to look for oil, and we'd lay out a long cable and set off dynamite so that we could bounce energy off the formation so we could find traps of oil. But before we could set off the dynamite, we could make sure nobody was moving around out there, right? So we had an oscilloscope to show us if we had somebody walking around, and we'd call on the radio, we'd say, "Stop walking, we're gonna set off dynamite, and you're gonna wreck the data." Well, I thought about that, and I said, wait a minute, we used to see people walking way out there. So when I got down here, we talked about it for a long time, and finally we decided, I'm going to try it. So I installed oil exploration seismic technology on my ranch.
Here.
Right here.
Where we are right now.
Right here. And instead of...
Why you moved here?
Well, I moved to here, to the border 15 years ago to try to solve the border problem. That's why I moved here. And you see, I'm a retired systems engineer. That means.
But what's your idea? I mean, what are you thinking, or what you were thinking?
And I can show you.
Yeah.
I can show you. I have a slide. That is, I was a retired systems engineer, and I was trained. When you look at a complex system, before you do anything, you have to know how to measure it. If you can't measure it, you can't improve it. So I began 15 years ago to come up with a way to find out how we're doing. And the way I came up with it was you count everybody who's crossing the border, and then you subtract the ones you caught, and then what's left is how well you're doing, how many get past you. Well,
how can you count how many they make it?
we tried a lot of different ways. You know, with sensors, motion detectors, cameras. We tried for a number of years. And that's when I finally came up with my idea, and that is I have a cable that's underground out here. And it's very sensitive. It's buried. You can't see it. But one person walking, I can pick up 500 feet away. One person. Now the border,
500 feet away?
500 feet away.
The border is just there.
Yeah,
no,
but
we
I
can
mean,
see it.
I can show you.
Yeah, we'll go there, yeah.
So we're going to go down there. So, but anywhere, in other words, it can be a line all the way from Brownsville, Texas to San Diego. If anybody walks toward the border and gets within 500 feet, just one person. If you have more than one person, it's like 600-700 feet. Well, by the way, Border Patrol has these little sensors too. How good are they? They can see about 30 feet, right? That's why I got a patent on this. The government gave me a patent for this idea because it's better than anything else. Now, then what we did was we proved that we can detect everybody, but we couldn't exactly tell, you know, were they carrying something? Was it 3 people or 30 people? That's when we got the idea of flying out there, sending something to go out to where the sensor went off, and we got an alarm going beep, beep, beep. And we started this. There's an airplane right over there. That's 13 years old. We started with that idea 13 years ago, and sensors. And now,
the drone.
We've gone from that to that little thing over there, to that monster, to these little things, and finally, and I'll fly this indoors. This is the latest right here.
This one?
This one.
Which is the biggest one.
This is the monster. This
is called the monster.
Well, no, it's not the monster.
Oh, it's not you, the monster?
No, it's called
It's the drone, the monster, not you.
No, I'm not the monster. No. The drone is. I call it identicopter. So identifies. So what happens is this. I will show you how it works. It can be 2 miles away. The sensor goes off. The computer tells this, go here. You know how fast this goes? 60 miles an hour. So in 2 minutes, right, he's walking out there. How far do people walk in 2 minutes? 500 feet.
Yeah.
Okay? So, yeah. So if they're detected, one person detected south of the border walking this way, and the alarm goes off, this can be waiting for them at the border, looking at them, saying, what are you doing here? You see? So this identicopter, the monster, can be out there, it goes shoo, and stops.
What do you do then?
Well,
you, Glenn Spencer.
Well, I don't do anything. No, the idea is, what do we do? What does America want to do?
You advise? What do you?
What I'm trying to get them to do is to install this all along the border. It's automatic, and I want Trump to stop his idea of the wall.
La necesidad no la va a detener un muro. La necesidad no la va a detener un aumento de agentes en la frontera.
No. Nadie puede trabajar en esa parte porque es una cosa antihumana.
The idea of a wall, it's absolutely absurd.
Absurd. I said that 2 years ago when I first heard of it. Stupid. I called it dumb.
Yeah.
It's dumb. You know, I mean, I've been down here 15 years. You know, you don't do that. If 30 feet high, I have an 18-foot tall fence here. Now, I will tell you, before they put that in, this was the Wild West. Drug cartels, they were flooding across here.
How do you know they were
Because
trafficking with?
of them carrying big backpacks.
But that's all you know, that they were big backpacks. You don't know what was inside.
But they were telling me that they were apprehended and that they had caught so many drugs. Or they might not have been. They might have been Al-Qaeda terrorists for all I know. I don't know who they
Maybe
were.
just a Mexican trying to have a better life.
Yo nunca he tenido ningún arresto aquí. Yo no vengo a fumar marihuana, a drogas. Trabajo, tengo mi familia estable.
Lo que está haciendo este presidente es lo peor que puede hacer a nosotras como mexicanos y como familias y que tenemos hijos. Es horrible, pero algún día nos tocará volver.
I don't know. There's no way of me knowing this, but I do know that we have laws against it for a reason. Okay, we're supposed to not have this. So isn't it important to what this does is tells you if you can look down and see if it's just a guy looking for a better way of life, or does he have an AK-47, or is he carrying something that you don't know what it is, or a nuclear bomb? So you've got...
Which hasn't happened yet.
Not yet. But, you know, there's plenty
Hopefully it won't.
There's plenty of time for that to happen. You know,
Let's hope it won't.
no, I don't think, I hope it won't. So regardless, what we're proposing is that we have a way to tell us how well we're doing. Now, I have an idea, okay? This may sound crazy. I think Mexico should pay for this.
You're just as Trump.
Sure.
Why?
Why?
You're the ones that don't want us here.
Oh, wait a minute. Let me explain something. But Mexico would like to have all these people get normalized, illegalized. But the Congress won't do that until the border is secure, right? Well, this will tell you if the border is secure. So now if we install this, and Mexico can pay for it, just pay for the wall, and then when we reach a certain level, everybody agrees, okay, it's okay. We'll pass legislation. You see? Why argue with that?
Why not both countries? They're both in the best interest of, in the best interest of both
Do it
countries.
together and say, all right, we've now agreed, let's set a number. No more than 20,000 get past the Border Patrol, not 400,000. Let's set a number. If we get to a point where you no more than 20,000, hold it there for a while, then we say, okay, we're all right. We're on with that, right? So let's move ahead and we'll pass legislation and take care of the people who are here. But
That
see,
would be the best thing to solve the problem.
well, I know, but they're not going to do it until we prove that the border is secure. Secure first, everybody's saying that. Certainly President Trump isn't going to sign legislation that legalizes people unless the border is secure. And all I'm saying is, hey, here's a way to prove it. Okay, why? Then if you don't want to prove it, then you don't want it secure. Oh, is Mexico telling us we need to keep our border open? Oh, that's not too good. What's going on there? So,
It's not open. It's always people trying not to pass the border.
well, I mean, just telling you that the American people, by and large, want the border secure before we legalize anybody. And I think I can safely say that. So what I'm proposing to Mexico is,
And how expensive is this? The technology is very expensive.
well, let's say the fence is about $5 million a mile. Now, if we could do that for 90% less, that would be $500,000 a mile. Oh, it doesn't cost that much. With the drone and the electronics and everything is about $150,000 a mile. So you save 95% less than a fence.
And why doesn't your country listen to what you have to say?
Well, let me tell you.
That's why you received us here, because you want Mexico to listen for what you have to say.
I want to invest in my technology. I want some money. No,
I understand.
no.
But why
I've never
doesn't-
made a dime off of this, okay? No, because what you do is improve, you work your cooperation, a feeling of goodwill, right? We're going to show that it's secure. We're going to work with you, the United States, and let's put Spencer's old little identicopter out there, his monster, and we'll work with you. And then we'll all agree. Then we'll work on legalizing and maybe normalizing our relationship, and everybody's happy. Everybody's
That would be
happy.
the best.
It would be the best.
But what happens? Have you seen Donald Trump? Were you supposed to see the president, or when he was a candidate, or no?
Well, he was supposed to, I invited all the candidates to come out and see this technology, and his was the only campaign that answered my request, invitation. So I have a little airplane, and that I run in a test, because this system also detects low-flying aircraft, like ultralights. So I put Go Trump on the bottom of the airplane that was going to be used in this test to fly over the border, next to the border, and the alarms go off, and I thought that would be cool because his people were going to be here. Well, at the last minute, they didn't make it. Dan Scavino was supposed to be here. Corey Lewandowski, his campaign manager at the time, sent me an email and said, Mr. Trump thanks you for all you're doing on the border, okay? So unless he has a bad memory, I think. And then also the picture of the Go Trump airplane ended up on the front page of the Washington Post. Now, at the time, I wasn't supporting Donald Trump. I was supporting Ted Cruz.
But then you voted for him. You've always been Republican?
Not always. When I was a kid, I was a Democrat. But so that I didn't, when he came out with the idea of a wall, you can see it on my website. I said, that's not a good idea. But I still supported it because it was sort of a metaphor, like a mighty fortress is our God. It's a metaphor. But I didn't think he really meant a wall.
I wouldn't be so sure, huh?
I'm not so sure. But a wall is a bad idea. A fence like we have here works, believe me, because this was crazy here when they put it up. It's sane.
It's been here for how long?
Almost 10 years.
10 years. Now, do you agree with him, with President Trump, that all Mexicans, we are criminals?
Las noticias en contexto, análisis y polémica con los más destacados articulistas del Financiero. Al cierre, lunes a jueves, 9 de la noche. Porque reconoces lo importante, el Financiero Bloomberg.
Do you agree with him, with President Trump, that all Mexicans, we are criminals?
No, remember what he said.
That's what he said.
They're not sending us their better people. They're sending us criminals. Now,
which is not true.
Well, wait a minute. Who's sending whom where? Okay. Now, you have to watch out with the term send. Not all the people coming in from Mexico, of course not, are criminals. If not, it's impossible. So he's a guy, he plays on words a lot. And if you really dig down, it's hard to pin him down because he's a little squishy with how he defines things. So, yeah, he sort of insulted people. But, of course, we do have a drug problem. I mean, I put this technology on the other side of the river last year. And there's a picture over there. There's a video that I got. We installed this, and on the first day, we put remote cameras over there. The alarm went off. I was just installing the system.
What?
And two guys with huge backpacks, that looked like bales of marijuana. Now, or Goodwill clothing for Christmas.
I don't know.
I don't either. I said nothing. I
belongings.
said suspected. I didn't say anything.
Don't you feel any compassion for that
The
people?
drug smugglers?
No, not the drug smugglers, but for people who want to cross the border.
Well,
I mean, who wants to make the American dream come true. ¿Cómo pasar?
De Hermosillo a Nogales en carro y después de ahí para allá caminando.
Cruzando por el cerro. Simplemente uno nomás seguía uno de los caminos que hay y a veces se pegaba uno con gente que ya venía por ahí que decían que traían guías. Y pues si no, tú solo, camínale.
En septiembre el río está crecido. La verdad uno siente pánico, ¿no?
He escuchado historias, gente que ha sido deportada y que vuelve a hacerlo.
Eso es verdad. Yo he estado sentada al lado de un caballero que me dijo, oh sí, este es mi tercer mes. Yo dije,
exacto.
Yo lo admiro porque no sé, yo soy muy cobarde para hacer eso.
Yo crucé de 5 meses embarazada, corriendo por la frontera de Arizona. Douglas, Arizona, por ahí pasamos corriendo. Fue horrible porque vimos cómo trata la gente, inmigración a la gente. Entonces, a mí me dio un poquito de miedo, pero mi esposo decía, no, échale ganas.
I feel compassion for them, but I also feel compassion for the people of the United States. I spent 10 years looking at this problem in California. California changed dramatic.
Where in California?
I went to Hollywood High School. I grew up in Los Angeles. Okay? Huh?
LA, but LA is made out of immigrants.
Well, now it is.
Third generation, fourth generation. You yourself.
Today, California has the highest poverty rate of any state in the country. And it is directly caused by illegal immigration. I coined the phrase 25 years ago on my website. LA's #1 import, poverty. I have degrees in economics and mathematics from college. I was working with Shirley Lertzman, who was on the LA County Grand Jury. I met with Mark Tajima, who was head of LA County Welfare. I went down and met with all the officials in Los Angeles County and looked at the data. I used to work at a think tank in Washington, D.C. I'm used to studying things, and I said, wow, we're importing poverty, and we were. And we still have more poverty in California than any place else. And this is not good for the country, and it's not legal.
But that's because of the illegals, you think?
No, it's because of our legal laws and our illegal immigration, principally illegal immigration. And I looked at the numbers, and then we, of course, have anchor babies and all of this that drew everybody in. So what I saw, and studied it with demographers, and by the way, all of the people, almost everyone I was working with when I started out in California were Jewish intellectuals. Shirley Lertzman, okay? All of these people that I worked with, very smart intellectuals, and we were concerned about the economics.
You're trying to tell me you're not a racist, or what? Why do you underline that they were Jewish?
One race is better than another? No.
Tell me the truth.
Well, I worked with American Indians, and I ran a seismic oil exploration company, and I was the second largest employer of American Indians in the United States at that time, and we were knocking the socks off of all the other seismic oil exploration companies with my Indian crew. They take great pride in their work. The geophones, they would bury every one of them. The other guy just stick them in the ground. We had the best data. We had more camaraderie and spirit, and they were great. They were terrific, and we were working with them to get into college and study, oil exploration. So, my chief geological seismic technician, his name was John Aguilar. He was from Mexico. I had to buy him a brand new Bronco to get him to go work for me, okay? This is what racists do. They go out, hunt down Mexicans and buy them a new truck, right?
That's what we think of you, and that you understand that you're a racist. That's what everybody says about you. You're a racist. No?
Well, that's right. What they try to do is silence me, essentially, by smearing the subject. Now, you take...
Who wants to do that? Us?
Globalists, people who don't want borders. It isn't just Mexico that wants us, be able to cross the border. This is an international movement. Okay, I saw this in California. We see the struggle in France right now, and England, and Brexit. all of this going on, okay, Merkel and all of her problems. This is a worldwide phenomenon of nationalism, possibly, but people who are concerned about the loss of their own national identity, their future, their economic control of their destiny, okay? And that's how Trump got elected.
Let me ask you a question. A Mexican, illegal,
So it isn't...
without papers,
All right.
which has been in the States for 40 years maybe, and has his family here. What do you think, that he's Mexican or American?
Well,
They think this is their country.
But what does he believe? You know, does he understand anything about our Constitution, about the Bill of Rights, about how our nation was founded, and the importance of what the founding meant? Okay, and the sacrifice for freedom that was made by so many of our soldiers.
Do you truly believe all Americans know the history? Do you truly believe all Americans know the history?
No,
The
they
foundation
don't.
of
No,
the... They don't.
That's a big-
So maybe a Mexican won't either.
No, but they have to pass a citizenship test, and in there they do learn. But I am not fighting against that. If you go down to the border, and you'll see our banners down here. I have big banners with thousands of flags. It's made up of thousands of flags, and it says, "Secure the border first," right? As I mentioned at the outset, what I've been arguing for years, and everybody, at least at the higher level of government, agree with that. We have to secure the border, and then we can talk about some kind of amnesty. But the idea of doing that before we have the border secure, it's just not going to fly politically, especially with Trump in there. It's not going to happen. So why don't we just all understand that and say, okay, let's get together and find a way where we can prove that we've got it at least under control. Because we're still, lots of Mexicans are coming in through our legal immigration system, family reunification. That can proceed, right?
But a lot of deportations as well.
What?
Deportations. They send them back also.
Yeah, well, they do.
A lot of deportations.
That's our law. And Secretary Sessions, Attorney General Sessions, is following the law. So what I am saying is, look, if you want to normalize everything, let's agree that we cannot continue this way, okay? And let's not do it that way anymore. And I'm proposing that we have a way of accounting, an accounting system.
And you are here 24/7? I mean, there are people here 24/7 watching the...
Oh, no. I don't. If the government installed this...
No. I mean, no, but right now, your organization, the American Border
I live
Patrol.
right here. I'm here 24/7, and the guys I have people who live right on the ranch right here. They're here watching the sensors all.
They're always watching, and whenever it's a...
You don't have to watch it. It'll yell at you, okay? It makes a sound.
Once it happens, once it sounds, and it yells. Once it yells, what do? You report them?
Yeah, we report it. We call the border.
Twice?
Well, we don't really have that much here because of this big fence. It doesn't go off much. But when we installed it over there, I actually guided Border Patrol to intercept people with the technology. And in my judgment, they're very high likelihood they were drug smugglers. So
That was your perception, Mr. Spencer.
well, I didn't say, I said high likelihood. I think that's fair, high likelihood. So that's my argument. I believe we're not going to get anywhere until we can agree at least that the status quo isn't working. And Donald Trump, well, wait a minute, I just turned my drone on. I'll turn it off.
Who designed that one?
I beg your pardon?
Who designed that, the monster?
This is actually, AJ, this is a Chinese company.
Is it?
Yeah. And we think we know how they got their start because when we developed that technology over there, we developed a guidance system, the software, and they bought, this like 14 years ago, they bought it from us.
Really?
Yeah.
So are you a wealthy man?
No. As I told you, I found out a way to make a small fortune on the border. How do you do that? You start with a large one. So I spent a lot of my retirement right here. And I bought an airplane. I flew along the border in it, you know.
That makes you feel safe, and you think you're like contributing for America being more safe, or what?
No, you probably don't know what I did with it. I mapped the border. Can I show you the map?
Yeah, sure.
What I did, oh, by the way, this is sidearm right here. Now, if you look up on the screen or down here,
Yeah, I read about sidearm.
sidearm right there.
Yeah.
Okay, now, what we're looking at here is, here are these guys. See the number 6? You'll see it out there? That's 600 feet from where the sensor is, right? Now, here are the sensor readings up here. Now, it detected something, okay? More than 500 feet away, right? And it's sending out an alarm. I don't know, my audio isn't on or something.
How does it sound? How does it yell?
Oh, you'll hear it. Let me play. For some reason, it's not. Oh, there we go. People read. It says people read. It yells it out. And it always says that. Okay, so you'll notice, see the tracking? It knows where they are, right? And so algorithm has, it knows where they are. It's saying they're right in this box, okay? Now, there is no other technology that will do this. We have radar. We have sonar. This is called SIDAR, okay? One radar for the air, sonar for the water, SIDAR for the earth, seismic detection and ranging. Now, see how they, now watch what happens. Oh, that's the actual display there. Now, just come back to the video. Now watch what happens when they get up to the 0 line there. As they approach the 0 line, you'll see the box will become a square. Now watch it. Watch this. Oh, right there. It says they're right on the border. The box became a square. So it knows where they are. Okay, then it says, okay, now they're headed north. Now let me show you what we can do with this. I mean, this is the amazing part about it. Now, what else can we do with this? This is where the identicopter comes in. Now, there's sidearm. Now, right here.
People read.
Hear that? People read. Now, at that moment,
People read.
the identicopter launches. Now, it automatically launches. Now it's heading off toward where sidearm says, go.
People read.
And so you send ICE, you send the police.
No, we don't do anything yet. Okay.
You don't do anything?
Well, I mean,
whenever it yells.
When this is finally finished, you will have a Border Patrol agent sitting at a station in his
But
station.
I mean, right now, what do you do?
Oh, well, we don't see many people because we have a fence. These are just our test subjects. You met Chad before. This is actually Chad out there, right? And you're going to see Chad in a minute. Now, here it goes flying out there. Now, this is 24 miles an hour. This is 60 miles an hour.
He's flying right now?
No. No, it's not. Here's Chad right there.
Yes.
You see?
Yeah.
So the actual drone puts you into position. Now the Border Patrol agent is sitting at his office in the station. He takes over the drone. He's now flying it, sitting there, and then he calls his other people. Say, I've got somebody over here, and it looks like he might be a migrant worker. Let's stop him and beat him up. No, I'm just kidding.
Let me ask you something, but you have to answer honestly.
All right.
Would you rather have the United States, because we're also America, the United States, Mexican free?
Mexican free?
Yeah.
No.
Without Mexicans?
No. I want Americans, and I want them to become Americans, to learn about our history.
Doesn't it worries you that whatever you say, everything that we've heard that President Trump have said, that's gonna do something bad? I mean,
I was just warning the American people of a threat that I detected that I think has lessened, and I think I may have helped lessen it, right? By saying, hey, Mexico, don't say those things. It's not helpful. And I think they stopped saying those things. You know what I mean? I think I did some good.
Yeah. Because there are a lot of Americans that think that white people are superior than black people, and that's true. A lot of people think that.
You know, when I was a kid, that was a lot of the feeling that went into the country. We have learned a lot in the last 70 years. I have learned a lot. It just isn't true. You know, what would we do without Nat King Cole, right? But that was part of our culture, an important part of our culture. And so together we're stronger. And it's true of all people, but you have to assimilate. You have to be able to get into this founding that I am so concerned about. And that is our founding principles that take some time to understand and appreciate. Because you lose that, there's not going to be another one. There's not going to be another America. There's not going to be another Constitution. And that's a slippery slope to go down. And I want to defend it. And so you go down there, you go down to the border, look at what we...
You're going to take us there?
Yeah, well, we can, but go down there, you'll see it says secure the border and a great big FIRST. I have said this. Now, let me show you something. Let's come over here. Well, of what I did. Now, when I heard that the Secure Fence Act of 2006, they were going to build 700 miles of double layer fence on the border, I didn't believe it. So I got an airplane and I started flying up and down the border taking pictures. Now, you see this map here? You see? Now, here are all of the different sectors. This is called Operation Beef. Beef stands for Border Enforcement Evaluation First. Before we started any legislation, we've got to evaluate the border first. So you can click on, let's say, the Tucson sector right there. And you come down here, and we found out what they actually built as part of the Secure Fence Act. Here, the blue is a vehicle barrier. Let's click on one of those blue things. That's what it looks like. That's what most of the fence that they built in the Secure Fence Act that's supposed to be a double-layer fence.
That's ridiculous.
That's what it looks like. Now, it turns out...
How big is the fence here in the border?
That's an 18-foot fence, and it's 5 miles wide.
5 miles.
Yeah. But most of the border looks like this. But you don't have to take my word for it. You go right on. I flew the airplane, right? I flew the airplane on all of these missions, right? I flew it hundreds of hours, and I know what's there. In fact, I did all the graphics. You come over here. You can come right here. And you want to see what this was my ranch right there as they were building this fence right out here, okay? Well, I found out they weren't doing what they said they were doing. And I published monthly reports.
What do you mean? What were they doing?
They weren't building to 700 miles of double-layer fence. Now, what happened was, the next year they were debating the issue of amnesty on the floor of the Senate. Okay? And in the last few minutes of the debate over the floor of and this is, you can confirm this with video from the Senate, Senator Elizabeth Dole got up and she said, you know, last year, the Secure Fence Act, we're supposed to build 700 miles of double-layer fence. She said, you know how many miles have been built? 2. You know where she got that? Me.
Are you against amnesty?
quién ganó y quién perdió en la jornada de negocios. Susana Sáenz tiene los nombres, datos y hechos tal como son. Ganadores y perdedores con Susana Sáenz. Lunes a viernes, 4 de la tarde. Porque reconoces lo importante, el financiero Bloomberg.
I'm not against amnesty. Because what do I mean by first? And so that actually defeated the amnesty bill because I proved they were lying to me. They were lying. The government was lying. And they're lying all the time. They lied about these towers over here. I shut that down.
So you like us, but not too many, and not
not
too many. I mean, you like us here, but not too many.
No. Too many means no assimilation. The schools are in trouble because you have people who are essentially in their own culture, just swimming in their own culture, and they don't get out of it. That's a swimming pool for their own culture, and we have trouble in the schools because of it. So lots of trouble because it was against the law.
But even among Americans, black and white.
What do you mean?
I mean, you mean you're against assimilation between Americans also?
No, I'm not against assimilation. I'm arguing for it. But if you have too many, you keep your culture, you keep your swimming pool of culture and all of your friends, all your fellow fishies, and you like to swim amongst your friends.
Tenemos ya raíces acá, somos familias transnacionales y venimos a luchar para que no siga este fascismo, ¿no?
¿La primera vez te deportaron?
Sí, estuve deportada.
¿Cuánto tiempo estuviste de
años?
3. No te sentías ni de aquí ni de allá.
Pierde uno la identidad porque llega uno sin documentos ni mexicanos ni americanos.
La gente que vienen aquí quieren hacer americano. They want a pathway to citizenship. Quieren un camino a la ciudadanía.
But people are frustrated because they know the American media are not telling them the truth about these things. I learned that in California. There's a blackout. For example, you're here, okay? 2 weeks ago, I had a crew of 5 from France. Okay, just before that, I had a crew from China. Okay, Japan, December 7th. I had 3 crews from Denmark, Norway, you name it. All here, doing what you're doing. How many U.S. networks have been down here to talk to me and see this technology?
None.
None of them. I'm blacked out. That's part of the problem.
Why? Because it's politically incorrect?
I know too much. I know how to solve this problem. They don't want the problem solved. I have the technology to get a resolution. They don't want it.
Why? Why don't they want
it? They're run by globalists, big billionaires who don't like borders, who don't like anything that stops them from running the world from their perches, right? From their orbits at 50,000 feet, looking down on everybody in flyover country. And there's a reason for that flyover country thing. So that they don't want, I have nothing against Mexicans. I have a history, right, of working with minorities. And most of the people who were affiliated with me at the outset were intellectual Jews. One, a professor of astrophysics at UCLA, who sat down with me when I was being interviewed by a newspaper out of New York. And he's going to sit down next to a Nazi? I don't think so. One of the smartest guys in America, Jewish professor of astrophysics at UCLA, is going to sit down to this racist pig Nazi and ruin his career, right?
You're not.
I'm not.
Absolutely, categoric.
It's just crazy. But I'm an American, and I understand the founding of America, and I want to protect what was founded. I want to protect it. I want to keep it from being eroded.
No matter how?
It doesn't matter how. There's no hint of violence here. there's only a hint of technology, right? There's a hint of a drone.
Have there ever been violence here? Do you use a gun or?
No, we've had one of our guys was almost killed. Yeah, I mean by a drug. We will suspect a drug smuggler, but it was threatened.
When was that?
Oh, it's years ago. 7 or 8 years ago, maybe longer.
What's the worst you've seen here?
What?
You've seen bad stories. What's the worst you've seen here?
Well, what's the worst? It was about 6 months ago. I had 4 guys in my yard over here, the Border Patrol chasing them, and they had drugs, and I was right in the middle of it. I was right there, and I got video. I got one of them gave me the finger, okay? Right?
Are you ever scared?
No.
That something can happen to you?
No.
How old are you?
Do you know how?
Do you mind the question?
No, I'm proud of it. How old do you think I am?
67?
How much? 67?
68? 70?
Yeah. That's good enough. That's good. That's close enough.
I know how old are you because I read it.
Of course. I look much younger than I am. And I acted. I go out flying experimental airplanes. I'll be 80 years old in 2 months. Okay? And I'm proud of it. Because age these days is different, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. It's just, it's being tossed.
Other story.
Yeah. So I'm feeling young. I act young. I do work. I worked last night. I work hard.
You work every day.
Every day.
How big is your organization? You want to show us around?
Sure.
Yeah?
No, so there you go. There's the technology. Do you want me to see my drone flying?
Yeah, of course.
How's that?
Wow, it's a beauty. It is.
Huh?
It is a beauty.
Now it takes off like a rocket ship, 0 to 60 miles an hour in 4 seconds.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. And how much you said it was? 150?
No, how much is what it costs?
Yeah.
Well, properly equipped, it's about $5,000. With a thermal camera, it's $20,000.
20,000.
Yeah.
All the technology would be 150, you said.
Yeah, that is $150,000 a mile for all the ground sensors. See, here's our ground sensor here. This is by the way, in the Japanese right here, on December 7th of all times. Here's our ground sensor. This is the one. This is patented. Has a range of more than 500 feet and very reliable. Very few. And then you have sidearm computers in here somehow. See? This is a big battery. This is a seismograph. Underneath that is a big computer that is solar powered. Yeah, this is a mock-up. This is a rough version. The final version would be much more sophisticated. And then we have these. This is the cable that is buried, right? Very small cable. It goes down, as deep as you want. You can bury it 6 feet deep.
And it's still.
Yeah, and you can bury it in pipe, so you can't dig it up. So it can be really impenetrable, and you cannot destroy it. You could put it in concrete. You could dig it in and backfill a pipe with concrete, and it was going to take you a number of hours to reach it. So it's very secure. This is one of our early drones. So that is that's going to be the basis for the basic entire set. Every 5 miles, there will be a drone like that. It will be in a silo. and it'll, when the alarm goes off, as you saw, people red, you'll see it, boom, it pops up. You saw that where it flew out, intercepted.
Yeah.
That was going 24 miles an hour. They'll actually have them now that go 100 miles an hour.
Wow.
So you're over there in a very short period of time, and you're right there. Now, some people say, well, that's inhumane. No, it isn't. You know, eventually you could get them to talk to people, you know, right? Show me your card, right? Huh?
Globophobic.
Oh, globophobic.
That's what you are. You're not a racist. You're not a neo-Nazi.
Yeah, no, I'm a globophobic. I know the founding of my nation. I know how it was done. I want to protect that creation. And you know, I don't want to be the first third world country with 6,000 nuclear bombs.
No. I know. So can you show us your airplane? Who do you live here with?
Huh?
Who do you live here with?
My dogs.
How many? Yeah, I read about those.
3 German Shepherds. I had 7, but we have a lot of illness in the last few years, so I have 3 German Shepherds.
They take care of you?
Yeah. It's my family.
You love them?
Yeah. In fact, they're wondering where I am right now.
How big is the organization?
Oh, it's small. We have a small organization. We have, you know, because we all, they live off of what I had and the little donations that we get. The money we get is very small as far as donations. The reason is we have been demonized. We don't get any publicity. American Border Patrol, you will never read about that map that we did that showed exactly what the fence looks like. You will never see that on television. You will never see this technology. You will see it in France, in Japan, in China, in Norway, in Denmark, all over the world. You will see this technology. And even the Voice of America that goes through our official organ did a review. But not one U.S. network, Fox, any of them will talk to me. Now, I find that fascinating, that you, Mexico, is more open, right? More,
we want to know what you're talking about.
Have freedom of press to come down and hear what I have to say, but not America. You used to say go Trump. Underneath that, we didn't get it quite covered up. But
oh, you covered the wall?
Yeah.
No wall Trump.
No wall Trump. So, you know.
In that we agree.
Yeah, we agree. No wall. No wall. Stupid. So this used to say, we're going to fix that. No wall Trump. I taught myself how to fly this when I was 74 years old.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Huh?
And you fly it like what, every day or
no,
once?
We haven't flown it in a while. But I taught myself how to fly it when I was 74.
Wow. No, you're amazing.
I'm a crazy guy.
What about your family? Where's your family?
Well, I have, you know, when I left California, I said my wife was a retired librarian, UCLA graduate. I said, you can come out here if you want. No thanks, you stay out there. So we got a divorce. She divorced me because I wouldn't come back. I had 2 children, both of those graduates of UCLA. I have 3 grandchildren. 2 of my grandchildren graduated from college this year, both in 4 years, okay, which is pretty cool, right? And the other one will be graduating within 4 years.
They've been learning Spanish, your grandchildren, in school.
Yeah, they do, of course. They have to.
I know, they have to. What do you think about that?
Well, no, I have no problem with that. I do.
Beautiful language.
Yeah, of course.